The drill is almost numbingly the same. After a shooting in the U.S., people stop by to honor the victims. Some leave balloons, others leave flowers, some shed tears. The tragedy rivets the nation. And then come the calls to strengthen laws to prevent people with mental illness from gaining access to guns. On a special program on CNN, a sheriff asked President Obama this question.
What would you have done to prevent these mass shootings and the terrorist attack? And how do we get those with mental illness and criminals? That's the real problem here. How are we going to get them to follow the laws?
But the real problem might be that most Americans wrongly believe that acts of violence are more likely to be committed by those with mental illness than the ordinary person.
Most people with mental illness are not violent toward others, and most violence in the United States, most gun violence, for example, is not caused by mental illness.
McGinty says that media coverage perpetuates the belief that gun violence and mental illness go hand in hand, when in fact, she says, mental illness can only be tied to about 4% of all the cases of violent crime in the United States.
Even if we had a perfect mental health system that treated everyone when they needed it and gave them perfectly effective treatment, we would probably only prevent, 3 to 5% of gun violence, and 95 to 97% of gun violence would remain untouched.
This perception about mental illness clouds people's thinking.
Today, people are more inclined to believe that it was the mental illness that might have caused the action or the activity to occur. And therefore, once they get that as an answer, they don't really go to thinking about whether it might have been something else or discovering whether it might have been something else that would have been involved as well.
Experts agree that the causes of gun violence are understudied and that they have to be studied so that deaths can be prevented, or at least so the numbers can be reduced. Carol Pearson, VOA News, Washington.